You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Other claims Melania Trump is trying a preposterous new way to silence him, based on an article by Robert Davis. Legal intimidation as message discipline. Michael Wolff says Melania Trump's legal team is now trying to sanction the lawyers who brought his anti-SLAPP suit after a federal judge threw it out in May. The immediate fight is over a lawsuit, but the political point is clearer than the filing. The Trumps are not just defending reputation. They are using law as a pressure system. Who holds the power? The institutional power in this story sits with the Trump side. Melania Trump can threaten a $1 billion lawsuit. Her legal team can escalate from a failed case to a sanctions push. Wolff, by contrast, is reacting. His lawyers are the targets, not the drivers. That matters because the articles frame risks flattening the situation into a personal feud between a writer and a first lady. It is not. It is an asymmetric contest between a politically connected family with access to aggressive legal machinery and a critic trying to survive the machinery intact. The point is the process. Sanctions are not a neutral procedural flourish here. In practice, they are a warning shot aimed at anyone who might think about bringing a claim, representing a claimant, or even repeating the underlying allegations. The message is simple: challenge us and your lawyer may pay for it. That is the real function of this kind of move. It is not only about winning in court. It is about raising the cost of dissent until the act of contesting power becomes materially painful. Coordination is the story. Wolff says he learned about the move from Boris Epshteyn, whom he describes as close to the Trumps, and reads that as evidence the strategy was coordinated at the highest levels of Trump law. They claim is Wolff's inference, not confirmed fact, but the larger point stands. Even without the flourish, this is not the behavior of a family improvising in public. The legal posture described here looks organized, layered, and strategic. The article's weakness is that it treats this as surprising. It should not be surprising. This is what disciplined political hardball looks like when it moves through legal channels instead of campaign rallies. Misdirection by design. The familiar trick in stories like this is to make the target look like the problem. A sanctions request becomes a dispute about whether a lawyer overreached. A billionaire's threat becomes a question of etiquette. The machinery of intimidation gets translated into the language of process, as if power were merely confused about procedure. That framing is convenient for the powerful because it hides motive inside form. It invites readers to focus on whether Wolff's lawyers deserve punishment instead of asking why a political family is trying to use the courts to silence criticism in the first place. The Trump method, the pattern is consistent: convert conflict into legal threat, convert legal threat into reputational damage, convert reputational damage into a deterrent for everyone else. That is not a side effect. That is the method. The larger political lesson is that authoritarian politics does not always announce itself with slogans. Sometimes it arrives as a sanctions motion, a $1 billion threat, and a network of loyal legal operators who understand that fear works best when it is filed cleanly and signed by counsel. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Roar Story for today's article, with the automated voice of Norman. Thanks for listening.